Yeehaw, welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. Today's episode of What If, we're going back into the Wild Wild West. Yes, I'm talking What If 1872, period. That's how we cook it. And this is how I'm going to be talking the whole episode because I gotta be a cowboy. I'm sorry, I won't do that ever again. I had fun doing it for you there. I'm embarrassed, but I also feel kind of empowered by it, so I may start doing it in my free time. I like being a cowboy. Anyways, this is the third to last episode of the series, and it was a little bit of a wild ride. I like this episode. I didn't love it. You know, gotta start being honest, because to start to filter out the things I really do love, I gotta kind of maybe not put everything on a pedestal. However, it's hard to not like these shows for me. It's hard for me to look at them with a super critical eye, because all I can do is just wait for the next one and be so excited because the previous one was that good. And I'm very forgiving of tiny little mistakes that could be made. I don't think they make many mistakes. I really enjoyed the structure of this episode. Just on the outside, just on the outer rims of the story of the Watcher watching. We know from last episode that the other Watchers are watching him watch. And the Watcher, let's just get a lot of this talked about right now, because this is what's on my mind. It's the end of the episode. Most likely the season finale story is going to revolve around this even more. Fact is, you're going to be so into this episode as I was. You were probably so into the episode. And there's this moment where the kid that Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop, the most unlikely yet heroic duo. Again, this series is combining Avengers and bringing them together, unlike the non-animated MCU, in which we really would like to see a lot more of that. That's the one thing I really want, is what they do in this show, start doing in the movies a little bit more. Something tells me that someone upstairs at Marvel wants these ideas, and they want them for big screen ideas. They don't if I would have watched all these seasons, I would have been as a Marvel executive, I would have been that Doctor Strange episode with his heart and hands, that would have been a movie or a short film. How powerful is that? Except this show's animation is so decent on its own end that episode is still just as incredible as if it were remade into live action. I just love how after that, the multiverse shows just a tiny bit in Multiverse of Madness that animated universes do exist. So if you brought one of these animated characters out into the 616 universe, for example, I do not believe that they would turn into a normal person from that universe. I don't know. Because they all turn, Doctor Strange and America Chavez turned into paint, and they do conform to that. There's a lot of little tiny outsider rules that are hard to figure out. But anyway, the Watcher intervenes by saving this kid. The kid was supposed to die. They were going to throw him off the train. And this is such a quick moment. The Watcher's Phoom. He's sometimes the hero needs an extra push, But then they move on. That's it. Such a small moment. But me sitting there, I'm thinking that was not good. After that end of last week's episode, that is not a good thing. Is the Watcher doing this in everything? Is he addicted now to intervening and going to far outreaches of the multiverse to save unique beings? They go in the beginning of the episode, he talks about how this is an way out there multiverse story, and some of the bigger, weirdest stories come from the greatest outskirts of the multiverse, like Frog Thor and Crocodile Loki. There's even a picture of them. Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting when the characters end up in a time period that doesn't really make that much sense for them to be in. However, infinite possibilities / what the Watcher has what I assume is a Google search hard drive type thing to see if anything like that did happen. What are the craziest things I can watch on the outburst of the multiverse? Is he meant to what's he meant to do? What are the Watchers meant to do if not just watch and not intervene? Is there a time which they are supposed to intervene? Is this their TV? Is this TV for them? And they don't want anyone really in the universe knowing about their existence? Do they serve a greater power? Do they have a boss? Lots of questions about the Watchers. And We knew even before going into this series that there were Watchers. We've quickly passed them in Guardians of the Galaxy. Even rumored that Stan Lee is a Watcher, since he was chatting with all of them in that little talk discussion of the Watchers that we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy. They basically tell our Watcher, because they're all Watchers now. I can't just say the Watcher. Our Watcher. They tell our Watcher, because of you, is the only reason that things are starting to change. And he's with 3 Watchers, and he says, we can no longer let your interferences go unanswered. And he pushes the Watcher with like a big old blast of power. And but the last animation didn't make much sense to me. It sent shards of the wall of the multiverse into a universe. So did they banish him as like a mortal man, like Odin did to Thor? Or what happened there? I don't know. We are bound to figure out. We are bound to learn. I like the cliffhanger. We don't have to wait a whole week. We have to wait till tomorrow or the next day. We got 2 episodes left. That's insane. I can't believe this is the 6th episode. We barely really even got to talk too much about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi as a cowboy. I usually like myself a good Wild Wild West story. And I'll say this one was so good. Story's so straightforward. Has a lot of action. Has a lot of stakes. And mystery. I have very detailed notes like outlaws are shooting a bell. I mean, every moment has a bit of significance. Like, I'm laughing now that I should have skipped that, but in a way, they have to shoot the bell 10 times to summon Shang-Chi. And they do that in the very beginning of the episode. And we get to meet Kate Bishop, who is actually referred to literally as Hawkeye by Shang-Chi. And let's just talk about how this show brings characters together that you might never see on the big screen. It's very possible that Kate Bishop and Hawkeye could even have the most friendshipy of friendships ever in the whole world. Actually, it could even be foreshadowing to that, you know? It's the last season, so they're like putting ideas and placing them out there because they have a little bit less to lose. Yet they still have to go through Kevin Feige and Marvel. And personally, they're probably just canceling this because it's doing I don't know. I'm seeing mixed reviews about that season too. I'll be honest. Like, I am not going to overhype something I don't like. I really have been enjoying covering this from day to day. I keep thinking of Agatha and like how she turned into a celestial. Like, what an amazing episode. But people aren't liking it as much. They're saying it's not the same. And that's disappointing because that's usually like leaning right into well, why don't we just cancel it? The people don't even like this season, the last one. It's not true. I got to say it on this mic. Like, I enjoy this show. I mean, is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. This episode wasn't perfect, but it was fun. And that's what the freaking Marvel Universe is all about. It's about fun storytelling, journeys into other worlds, and this show is about the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. And not only did it deliver in this episode a fantastic story of its own, it intertwined the story of the Watcher and what's going on with him, leading into a series finale with great stakes. I don't think this is the last we're going to see of our Watcher. I think we're going to see him punished and condemned, but he may redeem himself. Something like the Vision turning bad, like in the first season, Ultron, goes all out. That could still happen in this next episode. That only happened across 2 episodes, and I still remember it so well. The Guardians of the Multiverse, the last episode was definitely probably my favorite episode of the series, if I'm going to be honest. I am skippity jumping around a little bit more today because we're aiming towards the last few episodes, and I'm at a point of reflection. I almost feel nostalgic about the first few. Like, we started this with Avengers and mechas fighting a giant Hulk, and here we are with Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop on a Wild West tale to save Shang-Chi's sister. I mean, we even get a cameo from John Walker at the very beginning of this episode. He's one of the many goons that Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, take out. Gotta start calling her Hawkeye sooner or later. There's a rumored season 2 of Hawkeye coming out before. I don't know if they can do it before Avengers Secret Wars. What I kind of love about Secret Wars coming out like next year is that they're not going to waste any time telling new stories. Like, I remember maybe a year or two ago covering stuff like, honestly, the next phase of Marvel was like not vision. I couldn't have any vision for it, but they are really kind of condensing the multiverse saga. Phase 5 ends with the Thunderbolts, so that's gonna hopefully have a real big ending, phase ending, and we'll have to do our Phase 5 review. So, long story short, since I'm a little more rambly in this episode, however, for the sake of most of the people listening, like right now on the day, you guys just watched this episode. And this is usually what I'm going to be doing. It's an after show. So if you go back and listen to old episodes of mine, there's going to be like an Avengers episode that's 2 hours with me basically reading down the scene by scene, action line by line of that movie. Now, I can imagine how some people would appreciate that. But for me, it's way too tedious. It's kind of boring, and I like to kind of be in the moment and actually watch the thing. So taking handwritten notes is easier for me, and not saying every note just to help me know where I am in the episode, and also to help me keep up. This episode didn't need much of that because it was very straightforward. I'd say something that stood out to me was Sonny Birch from Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was working for a mysterious third party in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. This was like before Infinity War in 2018. We still didn't really get to know who his bosses were. However, after this episode, definitely am going to go with the 10 Rings. I think the 10 Rings is the business he's affiliated with. And him being in this episode, I think anyone who's coming back from that long ago are coming into this episode as those characters. I think there's a big chance we see those characters again soon. So this show kind of stands the test of time for 3 years. Like, we're going to be getting stories similar to this on screen. So when people discover the show, if anything, in 3 years, they'll be like, whoa, they knew it was coming. Sonny Birch and the face-off between him and Shang-Chi and him being affiliated with this. Oh, that's why they did that episode. I love that. It's fun to speculate. It is so much fun to speculate. Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop are legends in this episode. They're Wild West. Like, they got a whole story around them. And I think that's really cool. I'll say it again. Them as a team, never would have thought of it. Love it. I wonder if this is what the actor for Shang-Chi meant when he said, you'll be seeing me sooner than later. If I were him, like a fan of Marvel like he is, I know he's a big fan of Marvel. I feel like he would say that even if it were just about a what if episode. Something tells me that's what he was talking about. And hey, if I'm wrong, if we get like an appearance in Brave New World or even the Thunderbolts, I'd be really excited. Shang-Chi's like probably my favorite new Marvel hero. It's hard to say that because I can't even think of the other ones right now. But when I think of his movie, I feel so comforted. I could watch it like a lot. Like, I could watch that movie like 5 times a year if I really had to or wanted to, because it's a really good, well-paced journey. It's got all the stakes you could want. And man, I'm so glad to see Shang-Chi back in a few of these episodes, indicating like, we haven't forgotten about Shang-Chi. We haven't forgotten about him. They're just trying to work through a bit of a rough period, as Deadpool would put it. I forget exactly what he said. Rough period, bad time, low moment, something like that. I think episodes and shows like this really kind of change that, for me at least. And it lets the multiverse breathe. And if anything, this show can bring together heroes that we never would have thought to be together, or who could end up being best friends later on screen. I want to hope and pray that Doomsday and Secret Wars are the game changers that we were hoping for, and they actually round out the multiverse saga instead of cap it and leaves us saying it was not as good as Endgame. I don't want that. It's got to be better. I'm sorry. It's got to be better in different ways, in its own ways, and balancing even more of those characters. And I think this is like the very start of that. This is like, we need some of the new characters in the what if episodes. We need to get the audience more acclaimed to these newer characters that we've been introducing over the past 3 years. So the whole episode, they're searching for this Hood because he has Shang-Chi's sister, who we do know from the movies. And she is a fighter. And it doesn't take long to learn that Sonny Birch is evil. When they sneak on his train, it's like run with very modern technology. A thing I still don't quite understand. It might be the actual 10 rings. I don't know what the heck's powering that train. Did it explain it? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Let me know. Did they explain the super futuristic train situation? Like it was from Back to the Future or something? Like, I don't know how they got that. How did they get that type of train? It might have been touched upon quickly while I was writing notes or something. Tony Stark is referenced at least once in this episode, so we know there's an old Western Tony Stark out there building his. How does he build Iron Man suits in this period? Dang, I don't think he's building no suits. He's probably just invented some things. I'm gonna stop with the Southern accent, even though I love doing it. Sonny Birch has this magical little bell. Okay, and I'm like, why? And it actually turns out that this bell hypnotizes people and puts them to sleep, and brain contorts them into being a part of the Hood's army. So him and the Hood are working together. And let's just talk about it. The Hood ends up actually being Shang-Chi's sister. There's a lot of ass-kicking action that I'm not discussing in between all these moments. But like I said, I want to hit the big parts. And this has already been the longest episode of the season because for some reason I took the cap off of my rantiness today. It's because of the outside story of the Watcher. It got me all super hyped. So that's why I'm not like hyper focused on the episode. I did like it. I like the fighting. I like this. I'm going to say the stakes is the word of the day. It didn't bother me that it was this sister. I was like, who else could it be? I didn't think it was going to be her. I was expecting some really out there villain like Red Skull or something like that. But it was a sister with the distorted voice. So the voice and the face with the markings, when he's fighting her at first, doesn't look like her at all. And once it's revealed that it is her, she actually took the powers of the old Hood. And yeah, she is not in good shape with that. She's like a demon with it. She wants him to join forces with her. He wants her to give it up. An incredible fight breaks loose. So the kid gets to these train bells and knocks everybody out of their trance, including Kate Bishop, giving her just enough time to grab some guns and take out all the people holding her hostage. At this moment, outside, Shang-Chi has literally given himself to his sister, saying, I will not fight you, I will not kill you, you'll have to kill me type deal. And she's like, get up and fight. And it seems like just as she's about to take a shot and miss, I don't know, it seems that she was about to hurt him, and Kate Bishop kills her. And that is something I was really worried about for a second. I'm like, oh no, we don't have enough time in the episode for like fallout from this. And Shang-Chi does not blame his partner, Kate Bishop, aka Hawkeye, doing her job, saw a situation and acted on it. She did not want her friend to get hurt or die. The Hood was doing some bad stuff. They've been after the Hood for a while. She didn't even know until after she shot that it was a sister. So she was completely destroyed by that. And a great hero like Shang-Chi isn't putting that on her back and her soul. It was an accident. And, it's not like his sister was being like a superhero or anything. And so, yeah, she died in his arms, and he doesn't blame her. He blames the Hood. He doesn't blame Kate Bishop. He blames the Hood, which looks to be an evil entity, like a bad version of Doctor Strange's cloak, because it flies away, sentience, like with sentience. Very creepy. I wonder if we'll ever see or hear of that again. It's hinted by the Watcher that the kid is rising to become his own hero after that adventure, and being so inspired by Shang-Chi. And he's doing some he's doing some fighting stuff. This kid shouldn't be here, unfortunately. This is something funny because the Watcher, the exact line is, another one that ended better than it should have or could have. And then that's when the other Watchers approach him and are like, they bitch him out. I think the Watcher's amazing, and I think he should be forgiven. He didn't do anything wrong. He's gaining a sense of morality. Are these guys older than him, younger than him? Interesting. I hope we learn a lot more about them, to be honest. I hope the last 2 episodes will include lots of multiversal stuff, but like not a story too centered on like a quippy universe, like let's just get to the center of this thing. Let's learn a little bit about the Watcher and some of that lore, and like if that'll ever pour into the movies. And that's about the episode. I didn't like go down each action scene and like tell you every left and right punch everyone took, but the action scenes speak for himself. We all just saw the episode. I've been saying this all week. I'm telling you, I bet I've said it in every episode. It's like, I'm just covering the big moments. Sorry if you wanted more. 20 minutes to 15 minutes, great time for you, and me taking up more of your time. If you're really down to listen to the podcast, I need like a couple of emails saying, make your podcast longer. We want more. I just appreciate you for stopping by, and I want to keep it a decent length for everyone, even new listeners. And by the numbers, I know you are out there, and thank you for listening. So like I said, 2 days left, 2 episodes left. I think this show is winding up to be bringing us to a pretty cool finale. I'm not sure if it'll be as epic as season 1's. Season 2's was pretty epic too. I think they know that we're a little bit expecting kind of a big blowout at the end of this thing, one way or another. We'll watch it together and experience it together. We'll be honest and, well, as positive as possible, because I don't like spreading negativity. Thank you again so much for spending time with me. If you've been listening for the past few days, your holiday with me. We still got a couple more, so I don't need to get all sentimental on you just yet. And I did bring out the southern accent once again to close this thing out. Thank you. If you'd like to make a tip, go into the description of this episode. We got a tip jar. Leave a message for me. Never expected, always appreciated. Also, MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com for some insight or just theories, or just letting me know you like the show. Turn into an Irish accent. Let me know you like the show. And if you want to rate us on your favorite platform, give us those 5 stars, thumbs up, all those good things. I used to hate when people said that, but you gotta say it, or you won't do it. I barely do it, so I gotta say it, so maybe you'll do it. If you're listening and you're not subscribed to it, we will be back tomorrow for the second to last episode of season 3 of Marvel's What If. And until then, Avengers, disassemble.